Oh hey guys, let's learn how to make dynamic timing on a Goopy Splat. So in the previous tutorials I got to this point with a splat and I have played around with the timing a little bit in a different file and tested some stuff out, and I'm pretty sure it's going to work. So I'll walk you through how I'm going to move these frames around to get the timing that I want on the splat. For review, here's what it looks like currently. Everything is splatting and then dissipating at the exact same time, and I want to give it some variety. Let's switch it up. So the first thing I realized was if I hide all these other layers, this center piece, I don't need it. We'll delete it. The second thing I realized was right here we have this layer, and I'll turn on outline mode to show it, which is overlapping in a funny way with that other layer. So if I lock everything but that layer, I can come up here and erase and delete and erase, and that should get us there. Cool. Get rid of that layer that the center was on. Just hit the garbage can button. Unlock all my layers, and here we go. Alright, so the first thing I want to do is basically all of these need to go quick at first and then slow at the end. So I'm going to select all of these. I'm going to shift them over 2 frames so I have a little gap right here at the beginning. And that's the first step. Then, because I moved it over 2, I can come over here and hit F7 by clicking and dragging to create a frame where they're disappeared, and I can fill these in later with little fade offs and things like that. I'm just doing the big retiming right now. Alright, so the first layer is this top guy. I'm going to leave him the same. So he's pretty standard timing. He goes really quick at first, and then he slowly dissolves. This guy I'm going to let go quick for a little bit longer, so I'm going to select these holds and move them over. So it basically hits this frame, and then its second one pretty quick, and then even the third one pretty quick. And then this one, I want to extend it back over here so it holds for a while. And then that one all the way to the end. So it's going really fast, boom, boom, boom. And then it's holding, this guy here is holding on that for a while before he finally breaks apart. This one here, I'm going to leave standard as well, just like the first one was, because it's kind of, it's moving differently. That gives it enough contrast from the first one. It's coming out in a straight line there. So he's good. Then I'm on to this one right here. So this one I want to come on quick and dissolve quick. So it'll be like the one that's there and then gone while all the others are taking their time. So I just shorten all the frames so that it finishes before everybody else. And then we got this guy over here. I want this one to come in later, after everybody else. So I can select all of these and move them over. And I'm going to need to actually draw another frame to fill in there. Alright, so let's do that first. I'm on this layer here. Turn on my onion skinning and my brush sensitivity. And let's see, so I've got these 2 separate negative shapes in there. There we go. I'll put one negative shape a little further ahead and one behind, like so, and we'll call it good. Then this guy that's fading out, I'll actually give him a proper send-off. So let it dissolve some. I'm just guessing where these fills are. Let's see. There we go. Oops. Come on. Where am I at? There we go. Oh, I see what I did. Turning on outline mode on the other layers is helpful because, oh shoot, I'm on the wrong layer. It can get kind of confusing which layer you're on when you're doing this, but you'll get it. Let's see. Outline mode is just a really handy way to figure it out. You know, I realized something while I'm just like finishing these guys off here. I realized that I was really worried that this effect might not turn out super nice, and I'll be the first to admit that this probably will not be the greatest splat animation ever to be animated. And you're going to find that a lot of times when you're animating, you're not going to know if it's good or bad until you're basically done with it, or really, really close to done with it. And you really have to go on a lot of faith of like, this might turn out, but it might not. Here we go. And you just have to keep animating, just keep drawing your frames and trying stuff out. And the truth is, when you're done, it probably won't be as good as you wanted it to be, or it might be as good as you wanted it to be. It might be better. You might surprise yourself. But the important thing is that you stuck with it and you kept doing stuff to get it where it needed to be. I hope that encourages everybody out there who's feeling like they're messing up. I got a lot of people telling me when they were trying to do the fire animation that it wobbled a lot. It wasn't very smooth. And that's really normal. Like, fire is really hard to get it to be smooth, and it's the same with anything you do. Okay, so we got the basics mapped out. Let's just end this guy here so he's done when everyone else is done. And we'll save that, and we'll hit Control-Enter, and we'll test it out. So some of it's still choppy, but I can see basically here the animation that's going on, whether I like it. So if you come into your file and open it from Windows Explorer, if you open the .swf file that way, then you'll find that you can shrink it down. And by shrinking it down, you can check much more easily how you like whether your shape's working. Same thing if you stand up and walk away from your computer and squint. Like, you can kind of tell generally what's happening and if you like it or not. The key here is variation of motion, and this is why I feel like it could be an even better animation. So we got this shape here, which is coming out at a slight delay from everybody else, which is really kind of nice. We might be able to even exaggerate that even more. So if you can see early what you're doubting about it, maybe there's some course corrections that you can make to get it feeling better, right? So I'm going to have this guy come out even later. Let's see, let's just do a little bump and like a thing like that. We'll see how that looks. So now it feels like it's oozing out of the side, right? Like, maybe this guy could come out later too. So we're just going to play around with all the timing, right? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's like attached to that other dude for a little bit there. Alright, and then when he's here, I have no idea at this point how this is going to look. Yeah. So now you can see you've got a few different beats, right? You've got this guy down here finishing early. You've got this guy coming out a little delayed. And you've got this guy coming out super delayed and then slowing way down once it's all the way out. And so honestly, like, if early on you can catch some of these things like, oh, it's all bursting at the same time and I don't like that, you know, there's things you can do much more easily early on before you've drawn all your frames to course correct. And that's why, you know, you don't want to always just like in between it all the way through and then see, oh, it's junk. Although sometimes you may need to in between it to see all that. But learning how to catch things earlier is a really important skill that you'll find yourself developing over time. Okay, so let's move along. Let's work on this guy down here. So if you look at my frames, I've got some that are holding longer than others now. And I don't know, I'm just going to dive into this guy here. So I'm going to hit F7 on every other frame. And by the way, in this tutorial, I'm not going to go all the way in betweening this thing. I'm probably going to in between it at another time to kind of showcase all 16 frames, but for now we're just going to do the 8 frames by getting it every other frame, except for the very beginning. I'm gonna show you guys how to make the beginning feel nice and poppy. So right now I'm in between. If you have trouble seeing, you can always hide everything else, which is handy, and then you can turn on this outline mode, or you can turn on outline onion skinning mode, which shows me that I've been drawing it in the wrong place. So you just want to draw that in between. At this point, I've already done the part where, you know, I'm looking at the overall change of shape that I want, and now it really is just the subtle in-betweens. I mean, you'll see these shapes are not moving very far at all. And these little tiny wobbles that I'm probably going to get because I'm moving quick and I'm not being meticulous are not going to matter a ton because I'm zoomed into 400%. And I can almost guarantee you that when this thing is playing in a video game, it will not be a perceptible wobble in that line. And there are more useful things that I can spend my time on. Always remember that, yeah, clean is good, and you can take some degree of pride in making it clean, but you don't want to burn yourself out on the unnecessary details. Alright. It's just not necessary, guys. You don't gotta worry about it. Don't sweat the small stuff. Especially if it's like a pixel difference. If you're going in to 2000% like this to do your in-betweens, man, that's no bueno. Don't do that to yourself. You're just fine working out here. This is your comfort zone. And it just goes so much faster. You'll really notice a difference if you're not getting too up close, personal. Alright. I hope some of these practical tips are helpful. If they're not, leave a comment. Tell me how unhelpful they are. I will stop doing it. Whatever it is that's not helpful. Okay, see, so I was tempted to put like a divot in here, but I got to remember I'm working with Goop. And the fact of the matter is, it would probably smooth itself out, because as Goop congeals together, the ridges and bumps actually become less prominent. Plus, that would have left a tiny little detail that would have been unnecessary. So there we go. So let's see how that looks with the others. Ooh, turn off that outline mode. Okay, so that one's growing out. I don't like that shape coming in, so I'll erase it. If you don't like something, just erase it, guys. It's a lesson for life. Got a little ball there. Let's move that out. There we go. Alright. This guy here needs an in-between. Can I get an in-between over here? Alright. I'll leave this connected. The longer you can leave stuff connected, the better. It does separate in the future. I am talking, of course, about this separation right here. If you're working with something viscous, kind of default to, when you're in-betweening it, default to leaving it attached whenever possible. That guy too. That guy's so close, he's definitely going to stay. And I'll break that guy apart. Just one of them. I want to leave them all attached and then have them all break on the exact same frame. That's not good either. I'm just spotting the before and after frames with my onion skinning here. Good enough for government work. Alright, let's move up to this guy up here. He's all broken up by this point. Sure, we'll do that, and maybe let that guy disappear there. Having the different blips and blops disappear on different frames is really good. It's a good idea. Don't make them disappear all at once. So keep some around and others can go away. Like so. Alright, and then the one that started it all. Layer 1. Come on up and in between it. So yeah, like I said before, you know, if you're not liking the way your animation is going, or you're uncertain of where it's going, just keep moving. Just keep making edits and changing it and playing around with it. And for goodness sake, look at some reference. I forgot to mention this earlier, but I was before I started on this, like I try to do most of the time, I'm not always perfect about it. I spent some time looking up reference. And this time around, some really good Goop reference that I found was from the slow-mo guys. I'll link it in the description. Actually, I'll link it in all 3 of the videos. Because I found that stuff to be really helpful. They put paint on a speaker, and it goops up pretty good. And it makes some of these awesome shapes that you're seeing here. So, yeah, highly recommend. So this strand here kind of disappears, but I'll make it so that it's more slowly comes on down, like so's. And then, okay, I'm back. Now, see, I did a thing where now I'm on this layer, but I want to be on this layer, which is the top one. It's easy to do that in Flash. So if you're doing it, you're not alone. And my neighbor just started up his diesel in the alleyway. So he'll be idling that for a second, so I'm going to close the window. One sec. I have the great fortune of having an alleyway out the back of our house where there's a guy with an old diesel truck who likes to leave it idling in the alleyway, and I think he just turned it off. Yeah, he just turned it off. Awesome. One of these days I want to have him on one of the videos. I'm going to bring him over because he plays such an important part in all of our lives. You can open the window again if you want. I don't think she heard me. She's got her headphones on. Oh, she heard me. It is a hot summer day in Southern California. I'll tell you that. I got the sweat beating up on me, all up in here. Let's see. All right. Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, all right. And then a final frame just before these last few guys die. Sure. That looks good. Why not? The center shape was feeling like just a bunch of circles, so I'm just going to kind of quickly do something to it. All right. Let's see where we're at. Yeah, okay. So we got this gloopy goop going on. There's one last touch. I'm going to take all these frames. I'm going to move them over to frame 2. I'm going to go to frame 1, and I only need to be on this layer. And I'll turn on onion skinning and adjust it so it only previews one frame after. And then I'm going to do my initial burst frame. Let's see, I want all these to slide into each other. Yeah, that guy actually goes along that line, so whoops. Pro tip, don't erase your work. Okay. Okay, yeah. And the more variety you can get in here and personality, the better. Because this is the frame that kind of burns into the back of your eye and sticks with it throughout the rest of the animation. It's like, whoa, what was that shape? It was crazy. That's what your eye's saying. Saying that's crazy. Sure, I don't know. Yeah, so we got our splat. And I can stand up and look at it. Or I can open it here. Right? Have it open twice if I want. I don't know. Minimize that. So there's the Goopy Splat. We've got the timing moving, varied all around. I'm just gonna keep working on this guy because this is going in a direction that I like. I'll be honest with you. It's maybe not the best splat I've ever done, but it's pretty good. It's one I'm proud of. One that I would ship, so to speak. So, yeah, there you go. I hope you learned something.